Okay. Hi everyone. So today we're gonna talk about Bandura and Vygotsky's theory. So first we're gonna give the impression, and as I review courses, the theory of Bandura and Vygotsky, those two stuck out to me. So we're gonna talk about their learning in a social relational progress. So we sometimes think of learning as something that happens quietly inside of us. But both of these theories believe in our cognitive and emotional and behavior growth is linked to the people around us. So with Bandura, this quote stuck out to me because it says social learning theory introduced by psychologist Albert Bandura proposed that learning can also occur simply by observing the action of others. So this stood out to me because it was different from the beliefs at the time of rewards and punishments in shaping a behavior. So Bandura provided his point through his famous Bobo doll experiment. So in this study, children were observing adults treating the Bobo doll. So they were they were sorry, I was getting a call. So they were experimenting and they were seeing how other adults were treating the Bobo doll. So they saw how adults were they were acting aggressively towards the inflatable doll. And in the studies, children observed an adult just being so aggressive with it and being in a room with a doll. So those who had witnessed the aggressive adult behavior were far more likely to copy that exact behavior. So those who had witnesses the aggressive behavior did the exact same thing with the doll when they were alone with the doll. So with Vygotsky, this quote stuck out to me when he says social cultural theories is an emerging theory in psychology that looks at the important contributions that society makes to individuals' developments. So this quote stuck out to me because it reminds us that a child's environment isn't just a background noise, but that they are a lesson. While Bandura believed learning was observational, Vygotsky believed that learning starts from interaction with their environment, both in which are social progress. So one believed that by learning a behavior from another adult, that's how they learn. But they also the other theory was that they learn from interaction. So to connect these two, this share an idea that we socially learn from one another. Content connects to the daily classroom being in a self-contained classroom. I see this all the time. So I see all sort of a behavior in outbursts daily, and sometimes it just takes one student outburst to trigger everyone else in the classroom, and the students will copy this behavior and they start imitating the same behavior. And as teachers in the classroom, I also remember to stay calm, because otherwise, if I connect with the same behavior that the student is given, chances are that I'm gonna emerge into that, and my reaction to their adverse won't be another one but yelling at them and screaming and shouting. So I had to, as a teacher, I had to calm down myself first and remember that they will copy anything that they're seeing from me. So they will think that it's okay. So I had to be really careful on how I model that behavior. So there are some students, when I observe them in the classroom, I see how they struggle by sitting back in their room, in their seats, and they did not comprehend. Some of them did not comprehend the math lesson, and when I asked him to participate, he had no other input because he was completely lost. Meanwhile, another student on the other table, they seemed to have mastered the concept quickly and was jumping out of his seat at the chance to share with his classmates. So the teacher could have paired those two together, and they would be able to connect in the same way because one understood and not the other one. So the teacher, when the teacher paired these two students together, it was based on Vygotsky's zones of proximal development, where the student who was lost could have had the opportunity to learn from the other students during the peer interaction. So see here. So this also connects with the interview I conducted with a high school math teacher who demonstrated how to take advantage of social interactions. He recognized that teenagers are heavily influenced by other peers and purposely set this classroom desk in pairs and notes that teenagers like to talk, so I let them talk. So he uses their desire to talk by having them think peer share activities and peer tutoring. So I go back to my W, which would be my wondering, reflecting on my interview advices to leverage students' social natural leaves me wondering how to do that in a self-contained special education setting. It is even possible when some of the students are nonverbal and not social in nature, or is it worth trying with just my students who can communicate, or would it be frowned upon because I am excluding those who are not social or are not who are not social or are not, that they cannot speak? So am I really excluding them from doing that? So with that's what brings me with my wondering. But also, I've been in the self-contained classroom, so what had worked for me is seeing how they act, like what they like to do and the non-preferred task, and I see what triggers them. So what I do is that I make it into a game. So again, so would I be frowned upon because I'm excluding these kids, or should I just put them all together? So this is all I have for today. Give me a second here. This is all I have for today's with my with Bandura and Bulskotsky. I hope you guys understand. I know there was a lot of distractions today, but yeah, until next time, bye.